With some teams and drivers still licking their wounds from the brutality of the Winter Nationals, others are ready to rock and roll as the curtains raise on another ANDRA drag racing series.
Phillips Monaro's ready to go, and we're hoping for good things. We've left the car pretty stout from where we left off at Willowbank with the 569, so I think we can go pretty fast.
But the gap has certainly closed, and the feeling is in the air that a new challenger is about to enter the arena.
Yeah, certainly hoping to make it a big season. We come third 2 seasons ago, we come fourth last season, so we're going to try and stay in the top 5 and get as high as we can.
Gary Phillips is now a 17-time Top Alcohol champion of Australia, even without making the field at the final event at Willowbank last season.
Well, certainly didn't come up here just with one of the numbers. You know, we ran pretty good here last year. Obviously, it's a different car. I think track record's 5:46 or something like that. With the support from the Northern Territory government for this race, it's phenomenal. It'll be fast.
John Canole is back and ready to right the wrongs of the final round last season and goes in as a strong chance.
It's about a bit of a bittersweet situation there, but that's drag racing, and that's what we come back to do this stuff.
The new season opens this weekend at the magnificent Hidden Valley drag strip in Darwin, a place that is loved and respected by all the teams, drivers and the fans nationwide.
Such a fantastic place to kick off a brand new season. Hi everybody, welcome to Hidden Valley. We're going racing on the drag strip that runs adjacent to the V8 Supercar track. It is the 2015 Nitro Up North event. My name's Chad Nail and I'll be joined by Matt Nolte very shortly. A massive crowd has walked through these gates and there is a real air of anticipation around this event. To be honest, the anticipation for this event began back at the season-ending Phillips Winter Nationals at Willowbank. Everyone very much looking forward to what this new season might bring. Top Doorslammer and Top Alcohol on the menu today. That's how they wrapped up the 2015 championship. It was John Zapier's 8th straight. He's shooting for a 9th this year. But there's been plenty of moving and shaking in the Top Doorslammer paddock. To find out the latest, let's check in with them right now.
After 35 fabulous years in drag racing, Maurice Babietti has decided to retire from the sport he loves so much. But don't think that will be the last we'll see of him at the track.
I've been in this sport 35 years. Probably time to hand the reins over to a young, keen driver. And I've been great friends with the Baleri family for like 30 years now. And Mark's just turned into a fantastic driver. He's a good guy, he's sensible. So I spoke to Holden about it and they said, look, it's your choice, but as long as the Holden Trade Club gets wins out of this, we've got a better car, better team, let's go for it.
Team Bray Racing is back for 2015-16 with backing from Century Batteries and a brand new car for Ben Bray.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's ideal. I wouldn't mind a couple more weeks and got some testing done in it, but to travel up here to Darwin first round of Top Doorslammer, it's pretty cool to do. New car, new sponsor, you know, I couldn't have asked for anything else. We'll see how it goes.
After a couple of quiet years, Peter Kapiris is pumped about what lays ahead here in Darwin.
Well, mate, starting the new season is always good because everyone starts off zero. So, yeah, look, I think the next qualify is going to be a bit tricky, you know, the conditions. But obviously, then a qualified 2 and 3 should be really good.
Matt Abel is the Hidden Valley hopeful this weekend. The Territorian is hoping to qualify in front of his home crowd.
Oh, just to qualify would be excellent. You know, it's the first time I've raced them since last year, so it'll be a big call, but hopefully we can get in the field.
An oversubscribed field of 13 cars entered for the first round of the new series in Darwin, meaning 5 of them would miss race day. Pat Carboni made the field for the 10th time in his career, the 3rd time in the number 8 spot with a 6.105 second pass. Peter Kapiris was hoping for a better 2015-16 season aboard his Dodge Saratoga and would make the field in the number 7 spot. A rejuvenated Ben Bray debuted the highly anticipated Century Batteries Corvette Stingray in Darwin, and this pass was a strong sign of things to come. Murray O'Connor qualified his West Coast Sightworks Falcon in 5th place for the 2nd time in his career, while Paul Canole made the field in Q1 with a near-career best ET of 6.005, but would miss Q2 after this moment. But things would get even more wild in the final session.
Matt Abel bringing those revs up, lurches into stage. Canole missed that second qualifier with the cylinder head damage. Tyre shake for Abel. Left door also coming ajar. The bodywork's off for Canole. Big moment right across the finish line. Looked like Abel was going deep under the brakes as well with the parachutes flailing out the back. Let's check this one out again. Watch to the left. The front cowling just clean rips off the front of the car, clears the fence. Massive moment, but he looks to be okay.
Mark Balleary now aboard the Holden Trade Club Monaro after Maurice Fabietti retired at the end of the 2015 season, qualified in the number 3 position with a solid 5.922. Then Grant O'Rourke unleashed the 1320 Race Cars Camaro to his first 5.7 second pass of his career with this screamer late in the session. John Zappia would grab another number 1 spot with this pass that had the Darwin fans whipped into a frenzy.
Priolo desperate to qualify. He missed out on the last round at the Winter Nationals. I think he's going to miss out again, but in the other lane, Zappia is headed for another 70, and it goes faster again. A 5.78 this time at over 400 kilometres per hour.
It was one of the tightest margins first to second in the recent history in Top Doorslammer, and some welcome names that made the eliminations here at Hidden Valley. In a new innovation for the 2015-16 Top Doorslammer series is the addition of the non-qualifiers shootout. Based largely on the Chicago shootout format, drivers had the chance to collect 20 series points for a win and 15 points for a lose, all of which are added to their overall series tally. Each driver has a chance to run twice during the event with a total of 40 points on offer. And with 5 drivers not making the eliminations at Hidden Valley, the huge crowd on hand was treated to some sensational action. Pino Priolo was up first in his 37 Chev Coupe, and after a wild start, he came close to the wall and would pull the chutes at 1,000 feet for a 7.43. Local star Matt Abel in the 57 Chev would meet the Italian stallion Daniel Gregorini from Perth in the second matchup of round 1.
Abel keen to impress the home track fans. It's Gregorini who looks like he'll be getting the win. Nice run, 6.06 beats the 6.69. Nice stuff.
Stewie Bishop was up next against Victorian Robin Taylor, the man from Moody Ponds, and the Mad Professor 68 Camaro.
Oh, Taylor, he's creeped through the beams. Red light comes on, so it'll be Bishop who gets the win. Disappointment for Taylor with those staging issues. It's a nice run, 6.12 though, so still some work to do for Stewie.
Round 2 kicked off with Matt Abel meeting Pino Priolo in the Team Budget Forklifts 37 Chev. Priolo scored 20 points in the opening round and was still within a chance to score maximum points.
Revs rise, Abel versus Priolo. Much cleaner that one for Priolo. The noise goes out just after half track for Abel. Priolo gets 2 wins in a row.
In a replica of round 1, Stewie Bishop would once again meet Robin Taylor.
These two again. This time, the Mad Professor has the car staged correctly. We've got ourselves a good old-fashioned drag race. Bishop with shifting issues, but gets there anyway and gets 2 wins from 2 starts.
The final run of the shootout was a solo affair for Daniel Gregorini. After a strong launch, Gregorini shut the scratch-and-match Camaro off at half-track, but still collected the 20 points. So although not making race day, Pino Priolo was able to secure the 40 extra points alongside Daniel Gregorini and Stuart Bishop, with Robin Taylor and Matt Abel scoring 30 series points in the shootout.
The Crow Camps pit report here at Darwin's Hidden Valley drag strip, and there it is, 8 times champion John Zappia continues that form with another number 1 qualifying effort here tonight. Let's go for a chat because it wasn't all smooth sailing last night here. He's just discussing now what went wrong, and John, top qualifying effort last night, but there's some damage at the end.
Very little. We had a good run. Fuchs Monaro was flying both runs within 100th, and the 78 was the best, but then we noticed on this tri-drive that drives the fuel pump, the ignition, it drives the fuel pump, the ignition and the oil pump. With the weight of the oil pump, when it's been shaking, we noticed a crack underneath, and we just thought, look, we can run it, it's still working, but let's just save it, and I welded it up at Matt Abel's place this morning. and bowled it back up, and she's all good after the first round.
And so for the first time in a brand new season, we're about to go racing, and it all starts in Darwin. Elimination's not too far away, and I tell you what, there's just a huge air of anticipation up in the crowd, which has been filling across the afternoon. That's how they'll line up on the Snap-on Tools race ladder. Zappia and Carboni kicking off an all Perth affair. That's the number 1 versus number 8 qualifier. The Canole car has been prepared overnight with some unusual, almost bush mechanic-esque repair jobs on the front end of that car, which we'll see shortly. The crowd is building, anticipation building. We're going to take you down to the staging lanes and catch up with Matt Nolte, who's going to bring us the latest across his first session.
We've got Paul Canole, who repaired that car last night. They bought Bunnings out of black gaffer tape, nearly 7 rolls to patch up the PC Cranes entry. He meets Murray O'Connor in this first round. The team have worked their backsides off. A brand new engine in that car. It only got started yesterday, hoping to see how well that car's go here in this first round matchup. I love it down here. I'm sure it's nice and cool up there in the air-conditioned commentary box.
Yes, you need the aircon when you come up to Darwin. That new engine combination actually included this supercharger, which they unfortunately thought they had an issue with in the first round of qualifying, so they had to sit out the second qualifier. The problems were much bigger in the other lane though, weren't they, for Canole. Torched a cylinder head in qualifier 1, blew the whole bonnet off the thing in the third qualifier, but they've got it ready. First race. Well, it was O'Connor with the start line advantage, but a 593 is just rewards for a team who have done a lot of work to get that car ready for eliminations. Matt.
Chad, tells you how good the track is from last night. That's the first 5 for Paul Canole's team. You can see the team over my shoulder, absolutely ecstatic with what they've seen right now. Must be something in that gaffer tape.
I think you're right. John Canole and Sean Mifsud as well, who's working on this car this weekend, looked absolutely over the moon. O'Connor with an absolute huge start line advantage, turned the tyres, and then it shook pretty hard. Canole, though, with that first 5, scintillating stuff. And now this brings out Ben Bray, Matt.
Chad, just a nervous moment, then a fraction to go with Ben Bray's car. They had to push the car out here. It's a brand new car. Victor Bray was watching on there too. His first time out of the car for a long time. I can tell you, he's a real nervous driver down here right now.
Yeah, it's only really made the one full pull down the quarter mile since making the change to this new car. Speaking of all things new, here's Mark Balleri in the Holden Trade Club Monaro. And the somewhat sad news there for mine is that Maurice Fabietti has decided that a year of, or a career of driving these cars has finally taken its toll, and he has handed the keys over to this young Sydney racer from Narrabeen, the Northern Beaches. And then we go to this guy, Queenslander, in a brand new car built by Murray Anderson down in Melbourne. Fantastic to see. It's a bit of an unusual one, a sports car racing in Doorslammer. Party's over early for the new car, and this is good for Balleri. He also goes down with a 92. The speed is nice, at nearly 400 clicks. I think that's more just some teething issues for Ben Bray more than anything. The Century Batteries Corvette will return, and that will be a strong car. Nice pass this one though for Balleri. And I get the feeling, Matt, these guys are going to be a force to be reckoned with. This new combination looks good.
Yeah, Chad, probably going to take a while to get that Corvette sorted out. Guy alongside me here, very instrumental in John Zappia's progress. Rich, first round's coming up. He was on the track record last night.
Yeah, well, we're hoping the track's as good as it was last night. It feels a bit greasier, but we've kept the tune up pretty well what it is, and hopefully we can come up for the 78 or 79 or something around there.
We'll let Richard head back to his car here. He's going to meet Pat Carboni in the first round. Those guys are running out of fuel of all things, burning 35 litres per pass last night. The team have been thrashing to get another drum of methanol to run in today's elimination.
That one's coming up shortly. Thank you, Matt. Richard Zappia has been John's lieutenant all these years. They've seen some success. And now this brings out our number 2 qualifier. And Matt, this man is a force to be reckoned with.
Well, Chad, this race could go absolutely anywhere. You've got someone like Brad O'Rourke, who went career best 5.79 last night, up against Peter Kapiris. Has been a bit hit and miss in the past, but this race could go either way.
Interesting on onlooker in the background as well. Chief Minister Adam Giles in the house tonight to check out the first round of the ANDRA Drag Racing Championship. Peter Kapiris, former Doorslammer champion, and Grant O'Rourke. Both cars have been in the 570 club. Not too many drivers can say that in this country when it comes to Doorslammers. There's Mark Brew, crew chief for Peter Kapiris. This combination have been together now for a few seasons. PK's in. Tough matchup this one. Here come the Revs. Yes, O'Rourke is going to be strong. Low ET of the round, 5.90. And the team, well, I guess the fact that they didn't even really jump about with that one just shows you how confident they are. We're right on board with O'Rourke right now. I mean, it's not quite into the 70s where we saw him in qualifying, but still strong all the same. And Kapiris starts off his 2015-2016 campaign with a first round elimination. Not what he wanted, and it brings out the champ. Great shot of how John actually shifts those gears, those buttons on the steering wheel. This man has drawn the short straw today. Pat Carboni, heard about the fuel issues that Matt was alluding to earlier. Hasn't been the perfect start to the weekend for Zappia. They had to miss that last qualifier. They just adjust the mirror that sits on the A-pillar. John needs to actually use that mirror to see the Christmas tree when he races over in the right-hand lane because there's a dirty big supercharger blocking his view. Can he start off the season in strong form against Pat Carboni? Carboni with the smallest of hole shots means naught. 5.77 low ET of the whole damn weekend for John Zappia. They have come out firing, and his search for a 9th consecutive championship, Matt, has started in scintillating fashion. Bang!
He continues to lower the benchmark here. 5.77 this time, Rich. He's on a number.
Yeah, he was. He had to pedal that one again, so if we can get a straight run down here, I reckon we could probably go close to a 69 or something. But yeah, it was just wrapped it. Sort of slid around a bit, pedalled it, got going, a bit of shake, and yeah, just the top end was great. We preferred the left because of the mirror aspect, but yeah, we just wrapped to the win in the 77.
I think I've annoyed him enough now. Let him get back. These guys got a lot of work to do. That's not tears of emotion, by the way. That's just what it's like down here. I cannot describe what it feels like to be around here when Top Doorslammer's on, but the good news is Top Alcohol is still to come.
And that's how they'll line up, snap-on race until semi-finals. Paul Canole's a bit of a wild card here so far this weekend. And Balleri and O'Rourke, another interesting matchup. Hard to see how that one's going to work out, and if anyone can stop John Zappia in what's going to be another dominant season by the looks of things.
The Cocam's pit report. There is the bonnet that's been repaired overnight. Nearly 7 rolls of this stuff have been fixed on Paul Canole's car. Let's go for a walk because this guy has done a Herculean effort overnight, Paul Canole, to get into the semi-finals. But hey, you'd be loving this stuff right now.
Oh yeah, definitely. We've used about 3 rolls of tape on that car. It's anything holding it together at the moment.
What happened last night? We saw the bonnet peel away from the car. Was a Zeus clip? What went wrong?
Mate, we had a bit of tyre shake over the last few meetings and no one's actually checked the front end, so it loosened up a bit. So I'd say with that bad tyre shake we had, by the time we got to about near the finish line, it just peeled away.
So Top Doorslammer putting on a show. The first round of the championship up here in Darwin is looking the goods, but we are also going to be joined by Top Alcohol. That's coming up after the break.
Scott McLean has a busy time ahead of him this weekend. He is not only racing his All Tools funny car and Top Alcohol, is also ensuring that this special event runs smoothly.
For Darwin is celebrating 30 years of drag racing this year, which is a milestone. It's a massive effort from all past people that have been involved to get the sport going here. So we couldn't think of a better way to celebrate it than obviously run alcohol and Doorslam at the same time and introduce Top Fuel as an exhibition. So I think we've marketed it quite well this year and really looking forward to having a big spectator turnout for Darwin.
Jamie Noonan is hoping for his Winter Nationals form to continue here this weekend in Darwin.
We had a really consistent car to win a Nationals. We just want to keep it consistent and consistent low 50s, and I think that's going to be the key of winning a lot of races this season anyway.
Steve Reed and consistency have gone hand in hand in the recent past, and that's the plan heading into the opening round.
Oh, it's great. I mean, they're a fantastic motorsport community up here. Everybody's enthusiastic and the government are well and truly behind the place, so it's all good.
After getting some good numbers in Perth in the past year, Aaron Deary has decided it's time to hit the road for the first time in 6 years.
It's been a long while for me since I've been on the road, so I'm just hoping to turn some good laps. We're just starting to get to know this place in particular. I've got to thank Daniel Gregorini for actually bringing me here, but we might do a little business deal between us to get me on the road. I'm really pumped about racing again and can't wait to get amongst it again.
Time now to flick our attention over to Top Alcohol. It's the other eliminator joining the Doorslammers up here in Darwin. Nitro Up North is the event. The first round of the ANDRA drag racing calendar has brought in a huge crowd to Hidden Valley. Chad Nail on here with Matt Nolte down in the staging lanes, bringing us the latest news. And the whole way down this quarter mile, there's a big crowd getting every single perfect vantage point. All Tools girls are here in attendance as well as we check out the points from last year's championship. Gary Phillips just snuck in, didn't he? 10 points ahead of John Canole as Phillips picked up yet another Top Alcohol crown. And I get the feeling John Canole will be very hungry to go one better in the 2015-2016 season.
With 7 cars making the trek up north to Hidden Valley, the pressure was somewhat a little less, but that didn't stop the times from tumbling. Debbie O'Rourke struggled with her 1320 race cars entry, would qualify in the field at number 7.
Crossroads funny car in the far lane is Canole, but tyre shaken, way out of control. Good save for O'Rourke, but troubles. Nice pass for Canole. That one's out of the bag.
17-time champion Gary Phillips with a brand new Lucas Oils livery would have to settle for 6th with this 5.743 second pass. Aaron Deary made his first appearance at an interstate round of the series since the 2009 Winter Nationals with this career best qualifying ET run to slot in at P5. Stephen Reed got to grips early with the Northern Territory track but would end up in 4th when the music stopped on Friday night. Local star Scott McLean was hoping to reward the massive crowd on hand, and he didn't fail, smashing his previous best by nearly 0.2 of a second to qualify 3rd. 2015 Winter Nationals winner Jamie Noonan continued on his great form, slicing another 10th off his personal best qualifying time with a 5.54 second effort to go into number 2. Then came John Canole.
McLean in the All Tools NT funny car, the Crossroads entry far lane. Canole seems hungry in his chase of Gary Phillips this year, and this will be quick. Hang on, here come the numbers, 5.51. The speed pushing the 400 km/h pass, and that is nice stuff. John Canole, the Queenslander, is quick.
So Canole stopped Gary Phillips' domination here in Darwin with the number 1 spot ahead of Noonan, McLean and the rest of the field.
The ProCam's pit report here, the first round of this year's championship at Darwin's Hidden Valley drag strip, and it goes to John Canole. The good luck is there, it's back. You're running some good numbers here.
Yeah, we've got the car going back to where he left off at the Winter Nationals, and we went 5.51 on that last pass. It was good.
The track sort of went away in that last session, didn't it? There was a bit of dew in the air there, but that number early in the night helped.
Yeah, exactly right. We went after it a little bit more, trying to run a 40, but didn't hold on, and hopefully tomorrow we should throw a 40 on the board.
Time now for Top Alcohol. First round of eliminations in a brand new championship, and the quest for Gary Phillips to go and claim another crown will begin right here up in Darwin, the top end. Conditions, well, they're just about spot on. Humidity will creep up across the night, but right now for the first round, it's nice and low. That's how they line up on the snap-on ladder. Unusual matchups, which we're not used to seeing, like Scott McLean versus Gary Phillips or Noonan and O'Rourke. So looking forward to seeing that one. Canole has the I guess, buy through to the semi-finals after being the top qualifier. This guy, absolutely a force to be reckoned with after qualifying second with that 5.55. Remember, his form off the back of the Winter Nationals, very strong as well. He's the man behind NRE, the powerhouse that supplies cylinder heads throughout the world of drag racing. We're going to catch up with Matt Nolte. He's down in the staging lanes once again. What's happening?
And chat down here in the lanes once again. We've got Jamie Noonan, your defending Winter Nationals champ, line up against Debbie O'Rourke. And what I believe could be a matchup that goes either way, because Jamie, his first look at Darwin has already been impressive in the 50s. Another race that could go absolutely anywhere.
Thank you, Matt. There's Renee stepping away. She'll block her ears. She'll hold on. Also, good to see another former racer in Stephen Fry, a current racer, watching on, cheering on his buddy Jamie Noonan. Let's go racing in Top Alcohol. The revs never came up for Debbie O'Rourke. Never was going to make an attempt at that green light. And there goes Noonan. 5.54, faster than what he went in qualifying, so that's ominous. And it looks like the NRE cylinder head team will be strong on race day. No indication as to what was wrong with O'Rourke's car, but the revs never rose, so that would suggest to me that she was never going to have a crack at getting that down the quarter mile. That's a good pass though, isn't it? For Jamie Noonan, strong once again, and continuing his hot form off the back of the Phillips Winter Nationals. And the track staff seem to be a little bit perplexed as to why Debbie's car never moved out of the staging beams. Sometimes when you know you're going to lose a race, you can at least try and get to the start line and see if the other competitor might just red light. As we welcome back Aaron Deary. Good to see this man return to alcohol racing after being the crew chief of sorts with the Priolo team for quite some time now. Steps back behind the wheel of the Top Alcohol dragster. Another man that can comfortably run into the 50s, but I tell you what, the All-Star Batteries team, always tough to beat. Got to say that every single team in the pits respects Steve and Debbie Reed for the fact that they're just so consistent. Matt, this is another tough matchup.
Two cars backing up in this one. We've got Aaron Deary making his first appearance since the Winter Nationals of 2009. Career best in qualifying last night. He's up against Steve Reed, who found something in this track last night. I'm going to go with the dragster on this one because I think Aaron Deary has still got something left in the tank.
Deary, Matt, was also strong in qualifying in terms of those reaction times out of the seat since 2009, but I think he cut down an 0.3 in qualifying at the tree, so a small chance at a whole shot victory maybe. Reed's no dummy at the lights though. Here we go. Deary was strong, but Reed was not to be denied. 5.57 takes the win. Cracking drag race. Debbie's buoyant. She's up and about. The team will go down and pick up their man in the braking area who's kicked off the season with a win. Check out the ballistic belts moving around on top of that supercharger. That was a cracking drag race the whole way down. Good return for Aaron Deary, but unfortunately wasn't to be enough. Let's catch up with Matt down in the staging lanes.
This guy here, newish car, wouldn't say it's brand new. Shane, just quickly before he goes out, how you looking?
It should be all good. We found a few things from qualify last night, so we'll see how we go.
Brand new car, we'll let him get back to work here. It's going to be an insane matchup. He's up against the man who's done all the work this weekend to get this event up and running, Scott McLean, the All Tools funny car. Mate, good matchup in this round, could go anywhere once again.
You know what, there's never a better time to face Gary Phillips than when he's got himself a brand new car. That would be my inclination for this race. The local boy, also the club president of the Hidden Valley Drag Racing Association, and Gary Phillips, multiple champion, backing it up for the Lucas Oil Products team once again. But this is a new car after the crash at the Winter Nationals, and they were just happy to get it down for what was, for them, a fairly lazy 5.7 second pass, but that proved that they're not quite ready to go running the 540s that they were running so comfortably last season, which is good news for the local fans of Scott McLean, because the All Tools NT Mustang has been running comfortable 550s so far in qualifying, and who would have thought McLean would have lane choice over Gary Phillips? in a championship drag race. But that seems to be the way it is right now. Debbie Phillips at the front of that car, like she's always been for Gary. Loving the new wrap for Lucas Oils. Tough mountain to climb, this one for Phillips. That's why when the new car gremlins kick in, it's your chance to pounce, and McLean does so with a 5.57. So he went and earned that win anyway. He's got the likes of Steve Packman and the guys working on that car. Not a bad little brains trust. Phillips just smoked the tyres on the Top Alcohol funny car right at the hit. Strong 57, albeit maybe with a little bit of engine damage towards the end. But that was a strong pass for Scott McLean, and the defending champ is out in the first round of eliminations. And this man, Matt, would have seen all of that unfold. There's blood in the water and a chance now for Canole.
Chad, I think that's probably one of the biggest upsets of the round. Scott McLean going to the next round. Gives this guy, John Canole, a free kick into the semi-finals. And whoever he takes on, I think this guy is looking for redemption for what happened at the Winter Nationals just 4 weeks ago.
Look at the concentration. Had his own problems in qualifying. Actually took a small swipe at the wall. Track to himself. Like we said, this is a solo pass as he was the top qualifier in a 7-car field. And he goes 5.45, breaks the track record. Rick Dorsey high-fiving the crew. Paul Rooks has his arm around him right now. They're all happy. Strong pass. He'll take lane choice in the semi-finals. Despite having that solo pass, he looks to be the man to beat. Round 1 in Darwin, very strong. John Canole, low ET of the first round.
Well, Crowcam's pit report here at Hidden Valley Drag Strip. The locals are starting to fire here in Top Alcohol, and Scott McLean, who's been exceptionally busy behind the scenes, you're on your way to a semi-final.
Oh, it's a great feeling, Matt. Yeah, it's really good to do it here of all places at home. So, and Gary, champion of champions. So to get a win on top of Gary is, well, what else can I say?
The atmosphere here is unbelievable. Right above us, there's lots of VIPs, a lot of important people here this weekend overseeing what the efforts of you and the club have done.
Oh, it's been a group effort, Matt. Like, it's just a vision, mate, and it's about our sport here, the sports drag racing, and it's all about that non-for-profit, you know, all volunteer base here. It was about painting a picture and taking it to a new level. And I think our club and our committee and our volunteers have done that this weekend, and our sport has won.
And your number one fan.
And my number one fan is my eldest daughter.
Dad's doing good?
Yeah.
She's proud.
Yeah, she is, and she loves racing. Hopefully we'll get her in a junior dragster one day, but a little bit more coaxing to do yet, so.
And so to the snap-on race ladder, you'd have to say that Scott McLean's proving to be the fairy tale story of the round so far. But that fairy tale might fall short in the semi-finals as he has the hard-charging Jamie Noonan. On the other side, our number one qualifier has got lane choice against a fellow Queenslander in Stephen Reid. Right, we're going to grab a quick break, but on the other side of this, it's time to check out the semi-finals from up here in Darwin. Don't go anywhere. This is the first round of a brand new season of the ANDRA Drag Racing Championship.
This is fantastic. Great for motorsport, and Territorians love motorsport.
During the Nitro Up North event, the Rapasada Autosport team, a very special gift for the Nitro fans in Darwin, as they laid down the first ever pass for a top fuel car in the Northern Territory.
Look, I've only ever seen it once before in Kwinana. The earth moved for me, and look, I reckon people are going to be wrapped. And guess what, ANDRA? You better be bringing a round back here next year.
With over 8,000 horsepower, the Rapasada team laid down the first ever 4-second pass in Darwin. It was a sight that also had a big impression on the Chief Minister of the Northern Territory, Adam Giles.
blew me away standing in between the two of them when they took off, but it was just amazing to see the sheer horsepower driving down the track. You blink and it's gone. Well, it's a great time to be in motorsport in the Northern Territory, one of the biggest sports in the whole of the Territory. And the best thing is it does so much as an economic earner, with people spending money on parts and servicing, all that sort of thing to do with motorsport.
We're going to get these guys back full on next year?
Well, let's hope so.
It's pretty special to be able to say that we saw the first ever 4-second pass up here in the Northern Territory. Really hope that we get a round of Top Fuel up here in the near future. Semi-finals on track right now. It's Mark Balleri in the Holden Trade Club Monaro driving for Morris Fabietti, who's down there looking in the door right now. Had an ECU issue in the second round. Matt, what's happening down in the deep end now?
Chad, I thought I'd just disappear down to the end of the track, a bit more quieter than what it's been up the other end of the track. A brand new matchup in the championship this time too. Lane choice going to Grant O'Rourke here. Now lane 2, 3 from 4 wins so far. The big talking point, humidity is now 56%. It was 32 in round 1.
Thank you, Matt. Humidity will continue to creep up as we get closer to the finals. Who is going to make their first step into the final? O'Rourke or Balleri? Man, Balleri just spooked himself out. It looked as if he kind of made a mistake in the way he was staging that car. He had a crack at the tree. He red lit, and O'Rourke will go through to the final. There is Lucky Balleri. He looks pretty disappointed indeed. And it's Morris who has the news. Has the bad news. Oh, he knew it. Never mind having to tell him on the radio. Disappointment. O'Rourke, though, is a deserving finalist after running that very strong 570 in qualifying. He's down at the deep end right now with Matt.
From what it sounded like down here, she was a bit of a pedal fest happening down that part of the world.
Yeah, look, I can only assume I won. You're talking to me. I guess that's my job. I'm the driver. We do what we can back in the pits. We put our best effort into it. It's the whole team that works behind this. We win, we together, we lose together, but the thing shook its brains out. It was my job to get it to the other end first. I don't know what happened to Mark. Obviously, yeah, dramas as well. But look, proud of the boys. We had a crack, but I did my bit. So yeah, we're in a final. We'll see who he's going to run. See who we're going to run. Obviously, Zap's running Paul Canole right now. So yeah, we'll see how we go.
Grant O'Rourke, always animated when he gets out of the car. Sounds a bit like Darren Lockyer after a big State of Origin game. And this brings Paul Canole up to the plate against John Zappia. And for Zap, well, he knows that he's going to have a strong opponent in the final if he can make it there, but he needs to first take care of these guys. Remember, Canole made it into this part of the night with a strong 590 after the frantic work overnight to get that car fixed, Matt.
Gee, the atmosphere down here, even at the far end. I'm a kilometre away from all the action right now. A brand new matchup in the championship once again. Zap with lane choice, but gee, it's about reaction time. It always is in drag racing. It's not Zap's strength. I'm not sure about this one. This could go the other way.
And Matt, there's actually some drama happening on the start line right now. John isn't happy with the position of the mirror. They've finally got it. And it looks to me that this car is sitting just to the left of the groove as well, which is why they needed to adjust that mirror. He needs to use that to see the Christmas tree. Canole's been stuck in pre-stage waiting. He's keen to get this show on the road. Does that spell drama for Zappia? It does. He sideswipes the wall, and it is over. The streak of John Zappia winning consecutive races comes to an end. Contact with the wall. Disqualification, tell you what, doesn't matter anyway, because Canole was first to the finish line either way. And how about that? Paul Canole going to a final. He's got that thing pulled up just shy of the deep end. And after the work to get that car finished in a rush, with some questionable techniques as well to get that thing done, he's going to a final. And how about that? Zappia, for mine, I think the whole process was gone at the start line. Tyre shake, hits the wall, and Matt, that is one upset for you.
Wow, and the upsets continue. It's a smouldering mess down here at the moment. Paul Canole 5.97, my friend, you're into a final.
Oh, mate, I'm stoked. Mate, crew's worked hard over the weekend. We had nothing but dramas. Snout stuffed up in qualifying. We just had nothing but problems, and mate, they worked hard and we finally got it, you know. We just wrapped, yeah.
Pinch yourself, you're into a final.
I can't believe it. First final ever. We made the semis last start, the winners, mate, and we're through to the final here, so yeah, stoked.
Nice job.
Thanks, mate.
I've got to say, that man is now a force to be reckoned with. He can say that he has beaten John Zapier in a Doorslammer race. The snap-on race later, that's how they've got to the final. It will be Paul Canole versus Grant O'Rourke. Fair to say, I don't think I expected to see that one when I arrived up here in Darwin. Either way, it's exciting. And now the attention switches to alcohol. Semi-finals, Jamie Noonan backing up in the NRE dragster. Sky's really the limit for this man. We saw him run 5:30s with American blower trim in testing for the Winter Nationals, so we know that he can run big numbers. This man, a bit of an unknown. Scott McLean, president of the Hidden Valley Drag Racing Association and racer in his own right. Used to race in Top Doorslammer, now is really finding his home in this car. Matt, let's cross back down to you at the finish line.
And lane choice by 0.03 of a second this time to Noonan. It's a brand new matchup in the championship. I might go with the guy on the right perhaps here this time.
I'll tell you what, I'll be going with Scott McLean too, because Noonan just buttoned it off. What was that about? McLean will go to the final unopposed. And it was Noonan's call to shut that thing down. No one got in his face to tell him to turn that car off. McLean will get there with a 5.81, so the bar hasn't been set too low for lane choice, but I think they'll just be happy to be going on through to a final at home. The only thing I can think of for Noonan there would be that maybe he saw that he'd lost oil pressure, because it's rare that you'd ever see a driver shut down the car otherwise. But Matt, you've got a happy Territorian.
Scotty McLean, home crowd favourite here, has made it on to the final. The helmet is coming off. My goodness, the crew are teasing down here about running an 81. Who cares? You're into a final.
Oh, mate, it felt quick, but hey, I'm just glad to be here. And great, I've never been to a final. I did once and I crashed, but we shouldn't talk about that, should we? In Portland. But no, it's awesome, mate. It's to go in against John, or who's John with now, Steve. Yeah, it's just awesome, mate. It's been a great night here, great weekend for Darwin, and just excited.
You'll be hoping every round's going to be here in Darwin from this point onwards.
Oh, it'll be good, mate. I mean, you can see by tonight for yourself, Matt, like the crowd we've had here, and you know, people forget, you know, we're a capital city, but population of 120,000, and they've come out in droves. So the sport of drag racing is a winner tonight, and that's awesome.
Go get him, buddy.
Thank you.
Doesn't matter if it's football, cricket or motorsport, you cannot deny a home ground advantage always goes to help. And who will be the man who has to take on the juggernaut that is the very confident Scott McLean in the final? There's Rick Dorsey overlooking things with John Canole in the Crossroads Top Alcohol funny car, and the evergreen Stephen Reed All-Stars batteries once again. And there's Deb at the front of this car. Matt, what's happening down there?
I don't think Scotty's too fussed on who he runs in the final here, but he's got John Canole and Steve Reed this time. 7 times in the past these guys have met right now. The bad news for John Canole is Steve Reed's beat him on 4 occasions.
Oh man, it's getting hot in there as well. Thank you, Matt. That's coming out of the back of the clutch can. Who's going to meet McLean in the final? Both cars step out of shape at the top of first gear, but Canole gets there with a 62, so he'll take lane choice as well. I don't think that'll really matter because McLean ran the left lane anyway. Kirsten's happy with what she's seen, and there's the wiggle from both cars at the top of first. It shows you what happens when you try and lay 3,500 horsepower down onto the racetrack. It was tyre shake that caused that one. And Matt, we're going to have Canole versus McLean in the final.
Top qualifier effort last night here in qualifying. Winner in round 1, winner in the semi-finals of the 5.62. John Canole, you're on to a final against Scotty McLean.
Yeah, that's good. That's awesome. Oh, shit.
It's hard work.
It is. It sure is. You don't realise what you go through in those 5.5 seconds in the car, but it's, yeah, takes your breath away there.
This crowd is amazing out there. You can hear them from down the deep end here when the cars go to the finish line there.
Mate, yeah, it's awesome, mate. The crowd is unbelievable here. Credit to all the Northern Territorians to support us to come up here. It's great. It's awesome.
How do you approach the final now? Scotty McLean, he's got a bit of hometown support behind him tonight. What do you got for him in the final?
Oh, mate, we're going to give it our best shot, mate. He's got the whole crowd behind him, but we got the horsepower. So,
you got lane choice?
And we got lane choice.
What a drive job.
Oh, it's shook.
So a little bit of a debrief with his wife, and that's how they'll line up in the final. John Canole versus Scott McLean in the snap-on race ladder. And I think the incredible thing here for me is both Canole brothers have gone through in both snap-on race ladders to make it to the final. Cannot wait to see if they can both nab a win. So we go to the finals. We'll kick it off with Doorslammer first, then we'll finish the night with Top Alcohol. Interesting thing, we have a Canole in both finals. We also have a couple of first-time finalists, including this guy. Paul Canole, who will be up against Grant O'Rourke, who has now at least been able to say that he has claimed a top Doorslammer win. Did so in Adelaide when John Zapier clipped the wall. I think that was the last time Zapier lost a race before tonight, actually, with almost similar circumstances, taking a side swipe of the wall, and that leaves us with these two. Grant O'Rourke, who's made that step now to be a front runner and comfortably running quick fives. Matt, what's your take on this one?
I'm excited to see two Canoles in a final, albeit across two categories, but a brand new matchup between O'Rourke and Paul Canole. But lane choice going to Paul. He's gone with lane one. There's only been 2 wins from the 6 races so far. Interesting tidbit down here too, 19 degrees now. The air temperature was 23 during the semis.
And no doubt that humidity which he brought up in the semi-finals, Matt, will continue to creep up as it does in Darwin this time of year. The first final for Doorslammer this season, and it's O'Rourke versus Paul Canole. Here we go. Wow, Canole's going to pedal that thing to the finish line. Shoots out 6:09, gets the win. O'Rourke going slightly deep with those shoots out, and check out the celebration. Sean Mifsud, Paul Rooks, everyone down there happy to see Paul Canole take his first ever win in the ANDRA Drag Racing Championship. That is an absolute turn up for the books after what happened to them in qualifying. Outstanding run, and Matt, he did it with his 2 hands and his 2 feet.
Paul Canole, there it is. A hard-fought win. The car is patchwork quilt material. How do you feel right now?
Woohoo! Top of the world, man, top of the world. So stoked. Big thanks to my crew for getting us there, mate, getting the car ready. Had an awesome job. Mike Janis, you know, in the States, helping us, and Andy McCoy, of course. It's his right. He built the car, mate. Big thanks to everyone, my brother, family, everyone.
How does it feel to hold that trophy?
I honestly can't believe it. I still can't believe it.
Well done, my friend.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now he needs only his brother to join him. He'll be coming up soon in Top Alcohol. And there are the points after the first round of the championship. It's Canole just from Grant O'Rourke, and John Zapier will have a little bit of work to do, but he hasn't hemorrhaged too many points so far this weekend. Just the 17 off the pace. And looking forward to seeing how he rebounds in terms of the championship. Here comes Top Alcohol. Well, I get the feeling either way we're going to have a pretty cool storyline here. Either the Canoles will both claim a win, or we'll see Scott McLean claim his first win and in front of his home crowd. So there's a couple of interesting storylines to play out there. And this All Tools NT car has been pretty much bulletproof throughout the weekend. Down to the finish line is Matt.
And Chad, I can tell you, Paul Canole and his crew are all standing right by the fence here to see what's going on. Anticipation of perhaps being a Canole back-to-back here today in this racing could go either way. This one, Scotty McLean, the whole feeling of Darwin, is right behind this man.
Well, he had Adam Giles, the Chief Minister here, who better to have in his corner. Also the President of NT Motorsport here this weekend. But to see two brothers win in a pro category in the same night would be something else. Top Alcohol final in the top end is about to go. Goodness me, that's a big hole shot for McLean, and he might just hang on. He does. Incredible race. Whoa, it got close in the deep end. Canole got over to the left. He'll be filthy with himself. He's given it up. Check out the margin of victory, just 9 thousandths of a second. McLean won it on the start line. Absolutely nailed Canole to the tree. It doesn't matter how much Kirsty and the team cheat him on. Canole, with the better elapsed time, loses it, and it was due to being asleep on the start line. How close was that one at the finish line? Matt, that will take some time to beat that race.
Whole shot win, 5.61 to a 44, and the reaction time was the big winner. Scott McLean, you are the second Territorian to win an ANDRA Pro Series round.
Thank you, thank you. For the first time, I think I'm speechless. This is just unbelievable. I'd just like to thank all my sponsors, All Tools, stood behind us for so long, Go Higher, Redline Plumbing, Ozblock, Top Line Steel. This is for them and my wife and my kids. Thank you.
What's it like? Tell me right now, how do you feel?
I don't know how to feel. Like people like I don't win. You know, it's I don't know. It's just been a big week and feel good.
Well done, brother. Good job. Well done. I'm happy for you.
John, 44, man.
Mate, he did the job. Mate, deserves it. Well done. Carl Sky fell asleep at the lights. You've done a good job and you beat me at the other end. Congratulations. Well done, mate. You deserve it.
Always a brilliant weekend.
Awesome. Couldn't be better. Well done, bud.
Thanks, mate.
The camaraderie is clear. Interesting to hear Scott McLean say that he's not a winner, because he certainly is today. He's hosted a great event. He's won a great event. Also his wife Rachel, who we mentioned, doing a great job in helping this event to come true. And the 7 drivers that made it here, it will be Scott McLean who leads the championship into round number 2. Also coming in, John, the bodywork's off for Canole. Big moment right across the finish line. Wow, Canole's going to pedal that thing to the finish line. Shoots out 6.09. Paul Canole take his first ever win in the ANDRA Drag Racing Championship. Goodness me, that's a big hole shot for McLean. How close is that one at the finish line? That will take some time to beat that race.
Yes.